The most rebellious thing that you can do in a society that profits off of your consumption is choose to create. Humans were born to create. If you believe in God, the universe, or whatever creative force drove us to this 3D reality that is all around us and all encompassing, you have to believe in the art form and the necessity of creation. And if you look at the world that we have constructed as a human race, we've built this world to look and smell and taste and feel how we want it to, which is something that other species have not done to the degree. I mean, obviously other animal species, they make homes and they do things like that, but to the degree in which that we have manipulated the world to look and smell and taste and feel how we want it to is remarkable. And so we as a species are a creative species, and the force for consumption that we're seeing is detrimental to our society. People are more unhappy than ever, they're less fulfilled than ever, and I think that leads people to a real sense of like doom and gloom and darkness because they're not working towards anything, they're not creating anything, and that is one of the hardwired components of the human brain, is to work towards something, to create something. And so we're seeing a lot of unhappy people and its consequence. So the most rebellious thing that you can do in a society that profits off of your consumption is choose to create, choose to find ways in which it's like, I don't need to consume the shitty fucking doom scroll content every single day. I don't need to consume the fast fashion, shitty clothes from Shein or Temu or whatever it is, because that stuff is not going to make me happy. It's not good for society. What if I chose to create something that's ultimately going to lead to more of a long-term fulfillment? And I'm not judging people for their consumption choices, but what are ways that we can adjust our consumption and shift more to creation, because we're going to be more fulfilled as a species that way. They've done studies on it. Consumption is not a mile marker for happiness as much as it is how you're spending your time and how much control you have over it. So with that being said, what are some things that we can do about it? I want to talk a little bit about the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's a book I read recently. Her most famous work, I think, is Eat, Pray, Love, which is also another remarkable book. But Big Magic essentially is outlining kind of how we can live a creative life and what that can look like. So something that she introduced, a concept that she introduced to me, which I feel like was really helpful for my perfectionist brain, is that creation doesn't need to be this like huge thing. Like, we don't need to create Mount Everest in a day, or that was, I don't think we could create. We don't need to build Rome in it. That's better. We don't need to build Rome in a day. We don't need to write an entire book. We don't need to do these monumental kind of creative things that we think of. We just need to microdose creativity. How can you live a more creative life? How can you create a day-to-day life that is enjoyable for you to live? What are some things that some passions, some interests that you have that you could follow? Maybe it's a new hobby you'd like to try. Like, that's a form of creativity, is putting yourself in a position where you're creating a new day-to-day, a new way of experiencing your reality. That's a form of creation, is creating a different life for yourself by bringing in small things that you're passionate about, that you're interested in. For me, I was really interested in the counterculture movement of the 60s and 70s. Like, the whole hippie revolution was so fascinating to me. So I watched a couple documentaries. I read a couple books, like autobiographies and like memoirs from people who were living and experiencing like the cults and the hippie trail from like Italy to Istanbul, like just the whole thing across Asia. I was so fascinated by this, and it was really inspiring to me because it led me to a deeper understanding of like how necessary creation is, because at that point in time we watched an entire society reject the greed and the push towards consumption in the modern life that they were seeing at that time, and a draw for more love, art, the whole, you hear like the sex, love, and rock and roll, and there was a lot of problems with that movement. So I don't want to glamorize that movement, which is something I learned in my research. There was a lot of problems that came with that, like free love. There was a lot of STDs and a lot of poverty because there wasn't systems in place to support these people who were migrating to San Francisco, all this stuff. Anyways, follow things you're interested in. Long story short, that's what I'm trying to convey, is that like follow an interest. Maybe it inspires some new thought process. Maybe it changes your day-to-day life by picking up a new hobby. Choose creativity opposed to just doom scrolling, and it can be in small bits. Like I said, if you're really locked into scrolling and consuming, choose to like read something instead, or watch like a long form documentary on something that you're interested in, and that can help kind of break that cycle. Because that's kind of, for me, I was really just, I had to delete my social media, and that's what I was like, okay, I'm gonna read about some stuff I'm interested in, and that's kind of gotten the ball rolling a little bit and given me a little bit of a jump start to want to create more. And like for me, I'm trying to create by like posting more YouTube videos, because it's kind of a little bit uncomfortable for me. It's like pushing me a little bit out of my comfort zone. I created some YouTube content a while ago, like 2 years ago, and I had a lot of fun with it, but life got crazy and I was on a different trajectory, and so I put it aside. But it's kind of uncomfortable because I feel like I can articulate my thoughts so much better on paper, and so to come and like talk is kind of hard. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to push myself to be uncomfortable and create. And sometimes creation can be uncomfortable. Like a painting always looks very unfinished and crazy in the very beginning stages. So don't be scared by the discomfort of creativity, because there is some discomfort in the creation process, but usually the end outcome is going to lead to way more fulfillment, way more, I'd say, like self-trust. Like when you say you want to do something or create something and you follow through with that, you have a lot more like trust and confidence in yourself, opposed to if you're just taking the cheap route of like, well, it feels good in the moment to scroll. You're really not doing much for your future self. And so the whole purpose of this video is to just inspire you to create something and live a more creative life, no matter how small that is or how big that is, because the world needs more creativity. And I hope that you will choose to be a part of this creative revolution that we so desperately need as a society. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this video, and I hope that you guys have a great day. I hope that you choose to do something for your future self and choose to create. Yes, and that is all I have, and I'm being awkward in my outro, so I will just say farewell and a bye.